Good morning, everybody. It's Cecilia from Part on Farm. I know a lot of our content has been inside lately, but really that's where the action is right now. It's spring, or starting to kind of maybe look like spring. It's been over 32 degrees Fahrenheit for the last 3 days, so it's kind of muddy and wet outside, and there's not much going on with the chickens and the ducks and the rabbits. And really, it is 11 weeks before our last frost date. We're zone 4B, just south of 3A, and so our last frost date is not until May 15th. And really, most of what we plant doesn't go outside until after Mother's Day, just to be safe, or a lot of times the beginning of June. So right now, it's seed starting time. And today I'm gonna be starting some peppers. And I just wanted to share a few things with you that I learned. Last year, a lot of our peppers, our first round of indoor sowing for peppers did not work out well, but our second round did. And I want to tell you some of the things that we changed that I think made a big difference, and some of the things that we're gonna change this year that will hopefully make an even bigger difference, and we'll update you on how that went and what we learned. So first off, you can see that I'm starting, and I usually don't, but I am starting in these little tiny cells. And so there's an advantage and a disadvantage of these types of cells. You can get a lot of seeds under a light and under a heat mat in this size cell. Wow. But the disadvantage is I'm going to have to transplant up all of these peppers once they get established. However, I'm willing to do that because I only have so much heat mat space, and I have 2 heat mats, so I can put 2 of these on, one on each heat mat, and start peppers. And then once these get started and pretty established, then I will transplant them out and I'll start more peppers, because this actually won't contain all of the peppers that we're hoping to grow in the garden this year, and then any extra seedlings that we might grow just to have replacements because things happen. So we are going to start with smaller cells so that we can start our peppers on a heat mat. We just got a cheap heat mat from Amazon. It's a seedling heat mat, and I can link below what we got. I don't know, I've not used it yet, so we will see. I can't really give it a decent review, but I will let you know if I like it or not. And then we'll also put these under grow lights. You might be able to hear our puppy in the background. She's very vocal, I don't know what to say. Her and the older dog, Terica, are playing, so sorry if you can hear that in the background. The other thing that I learned about peppers is that they don't like peat moss or peat. So to be honest, most of the time what I plant my seedlings in probably isn't the best soil. I plant them in probably whatever is cheapest. So I have some just regular raised bed soil that I had, and then I also have some potting soil mix, and I have some seed starting mix. But for peppers in particular, I am picky about how I start them and what I use to start them with. So there are not very many seed starting mixes or mixes that I have found that don't have peat in it. I used to use Miracle-Gro Organic is what I used last year, I'm almost positive, for my second round of sowing, and that did not have peat in it, but I ordered Miracle-Gro Organic Performance this year, and it does have peat in it. So I don't know if the regular does or doesn't, but so this year the only one that I could find that doesn't have peat in it is the Burpee Eco-Friendly Organic Soil. So that's what we're gonna use today to plant our peppers. Like I said, I don't use this for all of my seedling starting, but because it doesn't have peat moss in it, that's what we're gonna use for peppers, because peppers don't like peat. And honestly, I'm not sure where I learned that from, but it did make a difference last year in the seedlings that we germinated from our first round of seedlings that we tried and failed pretty miserably to our second round. So we are going to fill these trays up with our burpee soil. So now that we have our trays filled with soil, I am going to go ahead and just moisten the soil with a spray bottle. One of the things that I learned last year, which may have been part of the demise, I guess, of my first batch of seedlings, was that peppers like the soil moist but not wet. So this, while possibly tedious, I think is the best way to just moisten the soil and get peppers established. I really think once you have a seedling established, it makes a big difference in how you can water, because then I will bottom water these trays actually, which is part of the reason that I have these in this pan. But the other thing is, sometimes people get stuck, like, oh, I don't have the right seed starting trays, or I can't afford to buy the right soil, or whatever the reason is not to do anything. Truly, if you don't plant any seeds, you will not get any harvest. So even if you don't have the right soil, go ahead and plant them. You might not get as good of a germination rate, but you'll get some germination and you'll get some produce. But if you don't try, you're not gonna get anything. So last year, we didn't have flats like this. We didn't have these seed starting cells. I started the majority of our seeds last year in egg cartons. Truly, and old sour cream and yogurt containers and milk jugs and any free thing that I could find to put soil in. And a lot of the soil that I used was leftover potting soil from plants that had died and just dirt. So don't stress about not having the heat mat or not having the grow lights or whatever. Just start where you're at, because that's where you can learn a lot. Because last year I learned don't overwater your peppers, and I learned, you know, sometimes your plants get leggy, and put a fan on them and do this and do that to make it so that they don't. So it's really just a good place for you to start learning. And we were given most of what you're seeing. I still don't spend a whole lot of money on seed starting setup, because these trays were gifted to us. Even these cells were left over from a family member of Seth's. He has like, I don't know, 1,000 people in his family, but they decided they weren't gonna garden anymore, and she had already bought some of this stuff and just gave it to us. And so that's why we got set up the way we are. So just do with what you have. Don't get caught up in, oh, I don't have exactly what you want, because that's part of what I get stuck in, is if I can't do it exactly how I want and perfectly, then I don't do anything. And if you don't do anything, then you're never gonna have any harvest. So in order to keep growing, you actually have to like put forth an effort. So it's a hard lesson for me. So I just thought I'd share. So we are gonna start 9 varieties of peppers today. And I'm just gonna go through the ones that I have with you. So I have this Ferry Morris Grand Bell pepper mix that the girls actually got for summer school last year. Part of their summer school project, virtual summer school, was to grow some seeds, and this is one of the seeds that they got, and we have leftover ones. So we're gonna go ahead and plant them because I don't want to waste them. And then I have some other leftover seeds. Somebody gave me these Habanero seeds, and I think these are like a dollar store, just hybrid habanero seed. We have, from Burpee, I have a gypsy sweet pepper, and this is also a hybrid. And then this one is an heirloom, and it's actually an jalapeno, and it's an early. I don't know, it says 72 days after transplanting. So because hot peppers take longer to grow than sweet peppers, I'm just gonna start this because I'm starting my bell peppers also. And it might be a touch early for me to be starting my peppers. Usually you start them 12 to 8 weeks before your last frost. But honestly, I want to get these going so I can get a second set of them going in that 12 to 8 week window. And if we have these early, we'll figure it out and we'll just deal with it. So I'm still working on getting some of my timing down for seed starts. And then these are some of the newer peppers that I ordered this year from Baker Creek because I just really like their heirloom seeds. So I have a King of the North pepper, which hopefully is supposed to do really well in the north. I have an Ozark Giant, which is just this beautiful red pepper with some like darkish blush on it. And then a Craig's Grande Jalapeno, because we use a lot of salsa. And so a lot of these peppers are actually gonna go into salsa. And then a Tabasco pepper, because Seth, every morning we have eggs, because if you live on the farm and even if you sell chicken eggs, it seems like you just always have eggs because chicken math is hard. There's always room for more chickens. But so every morning he eats hot sauce on his eggs. So I am going to attempt this year to grow some Tabasco peppers to make our own hot sauce. And then cayenne, we use a lot of cayenne pepper in like curry and chili and taco meat and that kind of stuff. So we are going to attempt to dehydrate some cayenne peppers as well and make our own cayenne pepper. So that being said, I am gonna go ahead and start, I think, with the cayenne peppers. So the thing about peppers is they like it really warm and really humid and moist. And so the seed starting room, we are in the process of actually setting up another space for me to move some seeds because I am very quickly running out of room on my grow shelf, which is not surprising because like right now I'm planting 9 varieties of peppers. I don't really need 9 varieties of peppers. I just have a seed ordering problem. And then to justify my seed ordering problem, I have a seed growing problem. And then you'll see what a disaster that turns into this summer when the kitchen is full of produce and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing with this. So anyway, so for the cayenne peppers, and actually most peppers, always double check the back of your packages, but all of the peppers that I am aware of, you plant at a depth of 1/4 inch. So what I did is I moistened down my soil. I'm gonna plant these peppers at 1/4 inch. And I'm just gonna do, because I'm starting so many, I'm going to try to just do 1 per cell, because I know I gotta transplant them all out. Now, that's not to say that I'm gonna be perfect at that. And that is also in recognition that I acknowledge that all of these probably won't germinate, and that's okay too. So, but it's an easy way for me to track my germination rate. So for example, the cayenne, I'm gonna plant 10 of them. Actually, all of my peppers I'm gonna plant 10 of. And then I will know exactly what my germination rate is, because if 8 of them come up, I'm 80%, or and for my garden plan, I have, well, cayenne, I actually only have 5 pepper plants. in my garden plan, but I can always either give away or sell extra seedlings. So, or I can always find room for them in the garden if I can't find another place for them. So, the other thing is, this is a mistake that I made last year. I have to label my stuff when I plant it, because I think, oh, I'll plant this whole flat and then I'll label it because I know what I planted. I don't. I can't keep it in my head. So when you are doing your garden planning, keep in mind that, so if you plant sweet peppers next to hot peppers, the pepper that you get will not change. It'll be, they might cross-pollinate, but the pepper on that plant this year will still be either sweet or hot. The problem comes when you try to save your own seed, which is part of the reason I like to grow. The majority of the seeds I have bought are heirloom, because I like to be able to save my seed. And if you save an F1 hybrid seed, you will get a pepper or a tomato or whatever, but it might not be exactly like what you're used to or what you were hoping for, because they're not as like stable. But if you plant your garden with sweet peppers next to hot peppers and you save your seeds and they have cross-pollinated, which they most likely will, then you might the next year get a pepper that looks like a bell pepper or a gypsy pepper or whatever, but actually has a significant amount of heat to it. So just be aware of that. I am actually going to plant some hot peppers next to other hot peppers, so I'm still going to plan on probably saving some seeds, because hot next to hot is probably fine. I just don't want my kids biting into what they think to be a bell pepper and getting their mouth lit up. So I will plant, my plan is to plant the sweet peppers by them on a different row or away from the other hotter peppers. And like I said, this year it'll be fine. It's just if I save seeds for next year and they're cross-pollinated, the hot genetics will override the sweet genetics, and you will end up with like a hot bell pepper that just lights you up. So these are the Grande Jalapenos. I have to tell you guys, I know that it is still, I mean, there's still a significant amount of snow on the ground. I actually, on the way to my rabbit hutch, there's a little patch where I can see dirt, and I was so excited this morning that I could see dirt. My alarm's going off. That I could see dirt and that I was doing the chores in the light. It just brings joy to my heart. And being able to get my hands in the soil, even though it's on this small of a scale, it really makes me happy. And I think there's something beautiful about finding some satisfaction and happiness in the little things in life, because there was a period of my life not that long ago where I was very motivated by my career, and I was very motivated to, you know, make money, and I don't know. And I thought, oh, when I get this promotion, I'll be happy. Or when I get this new whatever, I'll be happy. And really, there is something so beautiful about finding contentment with where you are in life and just enjoying the moment. And I'm so blessed that Seth works so that I have the freedom to do this kind of stuff. and share it with you guys because I think it's really enjoyable. And I think one of the struggles that women in particular, I'm sorry men, I don't know, maybe you struggle with this too, but I do. As a woman, I struggle with it, is guilt, mom guilt. Anybody else suffer from mom guilt? So I used to work full-time and be a single mom, and then I met Seth, who is truly one of the most sweetest people on the face of the planet. And we got married. For a while I worked full-time, and then I transitioned to part-time, like 20 hours a week for a while. And then when I decided to go back to grad school at Moody, we decided that I would just stay home and focus on that and really have the time to dedicate to the kids and the farm and schooling and just that stuff. Well, while it's wonderful, there's this immense amount of like feeling like you're inadequate maybe for me. And I don't know if other women who stay home feel that same way, that, well, there's these women out there and they seem to have it all together and they have their career and they have their kids and they're doing this and they're doing that and they're superwoman, and I'm, you know, I'm a stay-at-home mom. There's dishes on my counter, which there is right now, but that's besides the point, you know. And I'm a stay-at-home mom, and, you know, my kids have laundry in their room that's not washed or whatever, and I'm not doing enough. And really, I think that it's okay to give yourself a break, and it's okay to say, you know what, I really enjoy the garden and I really need to get these seeds started, and I really enjoy teaching people, so I'm gonna film it and I'm gonna talk to them, and we're gonna have a grand time for 15 or 20 minutes or whatever it is, and then I'll go back to the rest of life. But I don't think that we should, as stay-at-home women, I don't think that we're inadequate. I don't think that sometimes we get this like stigma of being lazy or just wanting our husbands to support us. Let me tell you something. Seth works so tirelessly and so hard and does his very best to be the best father, and he is a wonderful father and a wonderful husband. But part of what helps him be able to work as hard as he does is the fact that I do the majority of the cooking, and I am his helpmate, and some of the things that he doesn't have time to do, I can help him with. And there's this beautiful partnership there. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with me saying, no, I don't have a career, and yep, I'm going back to school for a degree that I may never use, and that's okay, because the knowledge that I'm getting is invaluable. I really do think so, in teaching my children and raising them up in our faith and the way that we believe that children should be raised. And so, yep, I'm a stay-at-home mom, and my kids are in school, and I'm still contributing through all of this stuff that I do that may not be contributing money exactly, but this was a very frugal way to get a lot of produce for our house. And so I'm contributing with my time versus my money. And I really think that that's a beautiful thing. So I don't know, it's just sort of a rant, but I just wanted to share with you today. It was on my heart. And the dogs are fighting in the background. You guys, this is real life, and nobody tells you when you start trying to record videos, like, this is just how it is, and it's messy, and I'm doing the best I can, and I'm not perfect, and I'm not polished. I say a lot, and there's dogs barking in the background. but this is who I am, and this is our life, and I want to share it with you. So I just topped off my trays of peppers. I'm gonna spray them with this spray bottle and moisten them, and then I'm gonna go ahead and put them on the heat pad and put them under the lights, and they should be good to go. So I will keep you guys updated. Follow our Facebook or our Instagram to see when these sprout and what comes up and kind of what our germination rates are. I am hopeful that it'll be higher than last year, and last year I was way less scientific about it, but I am sort of curious if the hybrids sprout more, or if my heirlooms sprout more, or if there's a difference between the Baker Creek seeds and some of the other seeds that I've gotten. So I am gonna do it a little bit more scientific this year and see what happens. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I really enjoyed it, and I hope you did too. Keep growing and have a great day.